Hey everybody, welcome to the 6th video in our Blender modeling of Batman series. And in this video we're going to work on hands, one of the more tedious things that you can do while modeling. You'll hear me complain about hands quite a bit, but let's just dive right in. We're going to take our vertices all around here. Oops. Including the middle. And I want this to flatten out just a little bit. So if you look at your own wrist, it's not a perfect circle where your wrist meets your hand. It's kind of flat. So we're going to do the same. We're going to make this wrist a little bit flatter. So I'm going to rotate until my view looks kind of like it's almost dead on. Now there's a trick. If you switch to face mode and reselect one of the faces so that it's active, and you'll know it's active because it's not just straight orange. It's black with little white pixel dots in it. But if you have a face selected like this, hit shift and 7 on the number pad, and your view will be perpendicular to that face. So it's just a quick way to do an alignment. And then if you hold on shift and do 4 or 6, that's how you rotate it around the view. So I'm going to try to get this to where it's kind of horizontal to where I want it. So these two edges right here, I want to try to get them as horizontal as possible. So it looks like I'm going to have to compromise between about here and here. This will do. Okay, so I want to scale this in this direction. So it's pretty much the Y direction based on my current view, not globally, because Y globally is going this way. I want it to go this way. So we need to come down here and change this orientation setting to view. So that way I can hit scale and hit Y twice, and it's the right direction that I'm wanting. So again, I hit scale and then Y twice to get the straight up and down based on my view. But you got to make sure this says view right here, or else that's not going to work. I'm also going to select just, let's go back to vertices mode. Select this vertex and this vertex at the end and squish them in a little bit, scale them closer to each other. So I kind of flatten out my left and right sides here, but then I kind of want to pull it back out. So take these 3 vertices, pull them out, these 3 vertices, pull them out like this. Okay, that's fine for our wrist joint. We're going to extrude this twice, just little extrusions for the wrist. And scale this up just a little bit. And then for the hand, we need to first extrude out our palm. So extrude one more time, and it's going to be kind of a block shape like this. I probably made mine a little bit too long, so I could pull it back, but I'm just going to Control Z and try the extrusion again, just not as long this time. Okay, there. That's the palm and actual hand area. Now let's do the fun part, the fingers. To do that, I'm going to make a couple of cuts with the knife tool. The knife tool is K, and you can see that with the knife tool, the icon changes to a knife, and there's a green dot that shows you where you're going to make your cut. So if you're cutting on a line, you can see the line turns yellow, and there's a green dot showing you where the cut's going to be made. If you hover over a vertex, nothing turns yellow, but you see a red outline around the green dot. That's how you know the difference between whether you're cutting on a line or whether you're cutting from a vertex. So we're actually going to start at this middle vertex on top. Just click there once. It'll show you a purple line where your cut's going to be connected. And come down to this edge and select about the middle of this one, the middle of this one. Now you could rotate your view to do the last part of it, but sometimes that doesn't work. So I'm going to hit enter to make that cut stick, and then turn my view around and do the cut tool one more time to finish it out. Okay, and I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. K for cut tool, starting here at this vertex, middle of this edge, middle of this edge, middle of this edge, hit enter, change my view up, use the knife tool one last time, enter, and there we go. Now we have pairs of faces now for 1, 2, 3, 4 fingers. Okay. So let's straighten these out a little bit. We don't want to start with fingers that are, shaped like this. So let's select, I'm going to go to edge mode. So this pair of edges, I'm going to align my view. Let's do the face trick again. Face mode, select one, shift 7, and then I'm going to use shift 4 to make this as horizontal as I can. Okay, go back to edge mode. Select a pair of vertices like this, and I'm going to flatten this one out again. So scale Y 0, and do that to the other two sets here. This middle one, scale Y 0, and then this one, scale Y 0. Okay, that will do. Go back to face mode so I can reset my view. Okay, so these two faces right here are going to be my pinky. I don't need them to be as large as it is, so I'm going to use an edge slide to shrink this last pinky shape down. So shift V is edge slide. You can see that it squeezes in, and I'm going to have to do the scale Y0 again to flatten it back out. You can also start shifting some vertices around. You can see that this is really narrow now, so I can actually just go to vertex mode and grab this. Let me show you a trick. So this vertex, if you line it up, line your view up to where this is on top of this vertex right here, like this. And it might be easier to switch to wireframe mode. Press Z to get back and forth between wireframe mode and solid mode. So if you align your view up with those two dots, now I can press G to grab that vertex. And it kind of helps with the alignment that way if you're trying to move a vertex without locking into X, Y, and Z. Okay, so this section here is my ring finger. It doesn't need to be wider than this one. So the widest section should be here. This is my middle finger. So select these two edges right here. Do another edge slide with shift V. Bring it over. And I think that looks all right. Well, let's take these in a little bit more so the pinky is even smaller. And then this vertex, I'm going to do that trick like on the other side. Line up the vertex with its neighbor, and now I can grab it and shape that a little bit better. The most important thing is to keep these 3 lines in between the fingers vertical and parallel. That'll make it easier to shape the fingers as we start extruding them out. So let's switch to face mode and extrude our, let's start with the middle finger. Okay, this will give us a good starting point because it's going to be the one that comes out the straightest from the palm area. So press 1 to go to my front view. And if you press 1 and your reference image is in the way like this, you can do one of 2 things. You can select it, go back to object mode, select it, and hide it with H. Or you can make sure you're in texture view by pressing Alt Z, and that'll get you back to texture view. I'm actually just going to hide it. That's probably easier. Get that out of the way. Go back to my Batman figure and make sure my middle finger faces are selected. Okay, so front view, extrude. We're going to go about to the first joint. Now we're going to shape this so that it's not so blocky. So I'm going to go to edge mode, Select this line and this line, scale those in, shrink them down, and I probably don't want that drastic a change, so I'm going to select them one at a time and bring them back up. So it's more of an elongated hexagon instead of a closer to a perfect one. Okay, face mode again. Let's do the other two joints. I'm going to go back to my front view by pressing 1 on the number pad. And remember, you want the bottom of the hand to be lined better than the top of the hand. The top should be sloped downwards. So I'm going to move mine down like this, so it's flatter on the bottom than it is on top. Let's extrude this to the next knuckle. Scale it down just a little bit. Flatten the bottom out. One more knuckle. Bring it down. And we're actually going to rotate this like so. And there's our middle finger. Okay, let's angle these other faces just a little bit. So I'm going to start with the pointer. If I go to my top view, if I look at it from the top, I can now do rotate ever so slightly outward. I'm going to select these as a unit, flatten out my view so I can rotate them out like this. And then my pinky, I'm going to rotate out just a little bit more. Okay, let's do the ring finger. And extrude that. Remember, this one's not as long as the middle finger. So I'm going to stop the first knuckle before the ring fingers, before the middle finger's first knuckle. And then switch to vertex mode and shape this a little bit better. So I'm going to scale those in, bring them down, scale, bring these up. Let's go back to face mode and finish the rest of this finger. So extrude one more time. Again, not past your middle finger knuckle. Scale it down just a tad. I'm going to switch to edge mode to bring these down even more to round it out. And then back in face mode, let's extrude the last knuckle. Okay, look at it from the side. We're going to rotate it like this. Looks like my Batman's having some pretty skinny fingers. We can fix that later. Let's extrude the pointer. E to extrude once. Come out about the same as your ring finger. Switch to vertex mode. Let's fix these. I just want to rotate. Bring it down. So it's more of a hexagon shape, or it's closer to a perfect hexagon shape. Okay, face mode. Extrude it out to first knuckle, second knuckle I mean. Scale it down just a little bit. Extrude one last time. Scale it down just a tad. Rotate it. And then reposition it so that the bottom's flat. I'm gonna have to go back and select this edge loop, bring it down. Same with this edge loop, bring that down. And then in face mode, let's bring this down. All right, finally the pinky. This is going to be shorter than any of the other fingers, so first knuckle about like that. And in vertex mode, let's shape this, scale the top, bring it down, grab these two, or scale them first and then grab them. All right, now we do our second knuckle. Scale it down just a little bit. And bring this one down while I'm working on them. This one here I'm going to bring down as well, just to make sure the bottom, again, the palm is more in line than the top is. And one last knuckle on the pinky. Scale it a tad bit smaller and do the rotation. Mine's a little bit too short. Let's bring it out a little bit more. Okay, there's my pinky. I'm going to stop this video right here. We're going on 18 minutes, really long time. The next video, we're going to add the thumb, and I'm going to show you how to detail the knuckles, kind of like we did the knees and elbows. And that's tedious. You've done it before, though. It's just tedious because there's so many fingers and so many knuckle joints. So until next time, take it easy.